Hello. So today our theme is also from the Yoga Sutras, and the word is svadhyaya. And sva means the self, and dhyaya means to study. It also means to study the ancient texts, and its contextual meaning was that originally we learned more about ourselves through mantra, through making sound. So we're going to make a little bit of sound today, totally optional, as always. Um, and the idea of swadhyaya, in fact, is the idea of yoga. So yoga, the definition from the Yoga Sutras is that yoga is that which helps us to bring the mind to a place where it's steady and we see things as they are. Most of the time we don't see things as they are. We see them as our conditioning allows. And so when we kind of work through some of that, we get to a place where we know ourselves better and we respond in ways that are true to ourselves. And so today, as we go through the practice, I'm going to invite you to make some sound. Again, that's totally optional. But what sound does is it helps to bring the attention into focus, sometimes even more so than just doing asana or the physical practices or just doing pranayama, the breathing practices. So it brings the mind into focus. And through that focus, we sort of learn more about ourselves through kind of settling and calming and coming into a place of sort of focus. So last week we talked about some of the obstacles or antarayas, clinging and aversion. And svadhyaya is meant to kind of move us away from those traps, we'll call them, that kind of get us. And so when we know ourselves better, we kind of step back and we see what's happening, and we can decide, is that the response that works best for me? And we might try different things in the process of figuring out what's going to work best, but that we don't just get stuck in our rut. Right? And that's where we end up with a lot of problems. We just do the same thing the way we've always done it, and then we get the same result that we don't want. So when we get a result we don't want, can we try something different? Can we reflect on what it was we did, why it didn't work, and do something differently? So we're going to use sound a little bit today, as I said, to bring the mind into focus, and that idea that when we kind of slow down and go inward, we see things more clearly. So we'll start seated as we always do in this class. So a chair, or if you prefer, a cushion on the floor works. So coming to your comfortable seat. And let's take a moment to check in. So that's also part of swadhyaya, is we check in, and we often check in not just sort of what's going on with the body, but what's going on with the breath and the mind and the emotions. So we get a kind of full picture of what's going on in ourselves. And that's the basic first step of swadhyaya. Where am I at now? So take a moment to notice your body. You might notice in particular the periphery of your body, so the skin. You might feel the air on your skin, or perhaps your clothing. You might feel the pressure of where your sit bones meet the chair, your hands rest on your legs. So feeling the periphery of your body, what's at the outer surface of your body, where your body meets the environment. So tune in and notice that. And then start to bring your attention a little more inward. So notice what's going on within your body. Below the surface, below the skin, the organs, the muscles, the bones, the joints. What are you aware of? What do you feel? What do you notice? As an overall picture, does your body feel more tense and contracted this morning, or more open and expanded? If there's pain or discomfort, absolutely notice but try not to dwell with all of your attention there. So we can create a habit of really dwelling and focusing on our pain, and that tends to increase the pain. So noticing, acknowledging, and then letting that go. And then tuning into your breath. Your breath is one of the great equalizers and stabilizers that we have available to us. It can bring us back to a more calm place or bring us up from a depressed place. But for now, simply noticing your breath as it is without trying to change it. Simply being with the breath. And then if it feels okay for you, we might increase the volume of the breath a little bit by breathing slightly more deeply, not faster, not forcing the breath in any way, but this feeling of breathing in fully, maybe even pausing to hold the breath for a second as long as that doesn't feel like a strain, and then exhaling, letting the breath go completely, and following that breath right to the end of your exhalation. Inhale. You might pause for a moment to feel that fullness and then exhale, let it go completely. A few more breaths, just like that. If you feel at all dizzy or like you're hyperventilating or feel lightheaded, just let the breath be normal. And then notice what's happening in your mind today. Maybe not even specific thoughts, but unless one thought is really grabbing your attention, but sort of the movement of your mind. Is it a slow wave with thoughts coming and going slowly, or things kind of jagged with lots and lots of thoughts vying for your attention? And then noticing your mood. What emotions are present? What are you aware of? Tuning into what's present emotionally. So the breath is said to unite the body with the mind and emotions and spirit, becomes kind of a bridge. And the breath center is, of course, this area around the heart and the lungs. Right? And of course, when we breathe, we can feel breath often in the belly or in the shoulders or other parts of the body, but the actual breath happens up here in the area of the lungs and around the area of the heart. And so today, the sound we're going to use to focus on the breath and the area around the heart is the sound that goes with the heart chakra, or anahata chakra. And chakras are energy centers. They correspond to physical gatherings of energy in the body, but they're not anything you can see or touch or feel. Well, you can actually feel them, but you can't physically see them or touch them. So the heart center, the sound, each of the chakras have a sound that goes with them, and the sound for the heart chakra is hum. Yum, sorry, yum, yum. Sound for the throat chakra is hum. So yum. And if you like, you can make that sound with me. Yum. 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 One more. Yum. And then pause for a moment and just feel the resonance in your body. And if you've chosen to not make the sound, you might just notice what's present as you've listened to the sound. And this heart center is in India, where they believe that the mind resides. Right? So we think of the mind as being up in the head, and that there's often this kind of disconnect between the head and the heart. But in India, there's not a disconnect. Decisions are made from head and heart equally. And we can also think of the heart as being the bridge between our gut knowing, our gut instinct, and our sort of thinking mind. Right? So sometimes our thinking mind can get in our way. It has all these preconceived ideas of how things could be, should be. And our guts really know the truth if we're willing to listen, and we know how to listen if we practice listening. And the heart is sort of this filter that everything goes through. So we'll work with this idea today and maybe add a little bit of sound as we go through the class with this yummy mantra, yum. So let's begin with a little bit of a cat-cow movement, breathing in and letting the back arch, exhaling and rounding the back. And if you like using sound, you could use sound here on the exhale. Yum. 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 Let's lift the arms and add a forward bend. You can keep using the sound if you like. Yum. 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 And then coming back to sit. And just pause again for a moment and notice the resonance of that sound. So using the sound yum today to bring attention to the heart, area of the heart, the sound of the heart chakra. So let's let that go for a moment and add some circular movements for the torso. So rotating. Notice how your body feels. Notice where you feel this as you move. Simple movement. Going one way and then the other. Right, and then coming back to the center. So the arms are considered an extension of the heart. And so as we open the arms to the sides, find a little lift in the heart, breathing in. And as you exhale, take your arms, cross them over your chest, let your head come down, give yourself a hug. And then inhale, opening. You can change the cross of your arms So as you cross this time, other arm comes on top, exhaling. Inhaling, you can pause for a moment after your inhale as long as that's comfortable for you. And then exhale. Inhale. And exhale. One last time. And then this time, bringing the hands back onto the thighs or the knees, wherever they're comfortable. And you can let the arms drop down to your sides. If you're on the floor, you might just be touching the floor. If you're in a chair, you can let the arms dangle down. And then we'll lift the shoulders up, taking a breath in. Exhale, roll back and down. Take your time with this. There's no need to rush anything. Don't rush the breath, don't rush the movement. And this idea, when we really tune into ourselves, to our movements, to our breath, to the sounds that we make, brings the mind into focus. It lets the extraneous noise move into the background, and we start to be able to see more clearly. Right? If we're doing our yoga and thinking about our list of things to do and making plans, we're not actually really doing yoga. We're just going through the motions. Right? And then leaving the shoulders now, let's move to the wrists and do some circles with the wrists. Again, really tune in and notice. What do you feel? What are you aware of? We get to know ourselves at every level through this practice. Physically, if we're ignoring things, it's hard to ignore them when we really stop and pay attention. We get tuned into our breath, into our mind, into our emotional responses, and through that we can make better decisions as to how we want to be in the world. Palms come together, interlacing your fingers, squeeze. And then pressing the palms down and away, gently stretching the wrists, the fingers, the hands. You can tune in, there's no value at all in pushing your body beyond where it goes with relative comfort. It depends what's going on with your body. It may not be as comfortable, but it should never be painful. And slowly lifting the arms, and keep the palms facing up. Bend your elbows if you need to as your arms lift. Great. And then bringing the tops of the hands, backs of the hands down to the top of the head. Draw the elbows back. Great. Lift up, press the palms up toward the ceiling, and then we're going to turn the hands around so the palms face in now, and you can bring the hands behind your head. Rest your head back in your hands, let the elbows open, and take a few breaths here. Try to let your neck be relaxed. You're not holding your head with your neck, but with your hands. Finding a little space across the chest and shoulders, armpits. Good. And then you can lift and release the arms and lower them down. Okay, let's lift the arms up the front. Turn the palms toward the ceiling. Fingertips down, and then curl the fingers in and draw your fists in, and then bend your elbows, hands to shoulders. And then open the arms, open the hands, tip the fingers down, keep the shoulders relaxed, and then curl the fingers in, keep curling in, hands come to the shoulders. And one more time, we'll open the arms, open the fingers, turn the fingers down, shoulders relaxed, neck relaxed, curl the fingers in, curl the hands and wrists in, curl the arms in, hands to shoulders. So you can keep the hands to your shoulders and open the arms to the sides, and either keep your hands and fists on your shoulders, you can open your fingers for a little twist. So moving one way, back to center, the other way, back to center. You can exhale as you go to the side, inhale to the center, exhale to the other side, inhale center, go side to side a few more times. Great, and then back to the center. Let's take the arms to the sides now. Again, relax your shoulders. If your arms are getting tired, lower them at any time. And then we'll make some circles here with the wrists. All right. And then pressing the fingertips out, palms down. Slowly start to raise your fingertips. Try to do this without raising your shoulders up. Keep your shoulders, neck, face, jaw relaxed. And then press out with the heels of your hand for a couple of breaths. Good. Relax the hands, give them a shake. And then let your arms come down to rest just on your lap or on your legs, wherever you're comfortable. And feel the energy in your arms. And you might even feel that energy up into the shoulders, across the chest. So through that whole area that we've just been stretching and working. And then you can bring the arms down to your sides, and we'll lift them all the way up in front. Breathing in, adding another forward bend. Exhale, coming forward. If you like here, you can add the sound that we've been using. Yum, yum. 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 This time stay upright. Let the arms come down again to rest on your legs. And again, take a moment to notice what you are aware of physically, energetically. We'll move into a gentle side bend here. So you can bring one hand to the chair, to the seat of the chair to support you. If you're on the floor, the hand can come to the floor. You might want to take your legs a little bit wider so you've got a nice wide base to work with. And then the opposite arm lifts up. You can turn the palm to face the other side, so where your other hand would be if it were overhead as well. And press down into the sit bone on the same side as the arm that's lifted. And try to keep your neck and jaw relaxed. You're not squeezing up. Shoulders stay relatively relaxed as the arm lifts. And from here, breathing in and lifting even taller. And as you exhale, think more about reaching over to the side rather than collapsing over to the side. Come back up with your breath in and then over to the side as you exhale. If your arm feels strained or tired, you can bring it down as you come back to the center. Lift it up with a breath in and over to the side. So it could be down and up and over. So here the breathing, you'd inhale here, exhale down, inhale lift, exhale reach. Or just exhale reach, inhale lift. If it's comfortable for you, stay for a couple of breaths. And then lifting all the way up, releasing that arm down. Pause for a moment. Imagine you could split yourself in half down the center and maybe take a mental note of what the right side feels like versus the left side. Are you aware of any difference between the side that you've worked already and the side that we will get to in a moment? And then you can bring the hand that was up to your chair. Again, nice wide stance with your feet. Other arm reaching up overhead. You're going to press down into the sit bone on the same side of the arm that's lifted, so you're really anchored. The last thing you want to do is lift up and become unbalanced on your chair and have the chair topple over. So you really want to stay nicely grounded. And from here, breathing in, breathing into that side of the body. Exhale, reaching to the side. Inhale, back to center. Exhale to the side. If you want to do this in 2 breaths, you'll inhale up. Exhale the arm down, inhale it back up again, and exhale to the other side. So continue like that a few more times on your own. And then eventually coming back to the center, releasing the arm down. Both hands come to your legs, your knees, or your thighs, and we'll repeat the cat-cow movement. Inhale, arching. Exhale and rounding. And if you want to add the sound that we've been using, yum, yum, yum. Yum. Right, and then eventually finding your way back to neutral with your spine, letting go of the sound. Take a few normal breaths, check in, notice, how do things feel now? How does your body feel? How does your breath feel? We're going to come to stand. And you can move your chair, if you're using a chair, you can move it to the end of your mat, and you may find it handy for some of the other postures that we'll do. For now, bringing the feet apart, bringing the hands to your hips. Bend and straighten your knees a few times. And then just to bring a little more ease to the hips after sitting for a while, we can do some circles here. Go a few circles one way and then try going the other way as well. Great, and then let's come back to center and release the arms to the sides. You can walk the feet so they're in underneath your hips, a little closer. And we'll work a little bit with balance now. So the first aspect of balance is to be focused, right? So when our mind is all over the place, it's very difficult to balance. And then we want to keep the body relaxed. So the more rigid we are, the more it's difficult to hold the balance. And then we want to feel our roots. So feel your heels being sucked down into the earth and feel your body lift in response to that. And then start to rock your weight a little bit forward onto the balls of your feet, a little bit back onto your heels. You can lift the toes if you like as you rock back. Good. And then maybe start to lift the heels right up, coming onto the balls of your feet, and lift the toes as you rock back. Just get a sense of what your balance feels like today. Try not to think about it too much. Good. And then let's try raising up the arms, breathing in as we lift the heels, breathing out as we lower. Now, some people find it's easier to balance taking the arms out from the sides as you lift up, and some people find it easier to balance lifting from the front. So you can try it each way and see what's better for you. Maybe you want more challenge, or maybe you just want to keep your balance, doing it the way that's most conducive to that. Right, and then let's come back to the center and we'll walk, lifting one leg and the other as if we're walking on the spot. And for you, it might just be lifting the heel, one and then the other, or just lifting the foot, or you might lift all the way up. So checking in with your balance. Here's a great place where you could hold on to your chair if you're finding that you're wobbly here. So much better to hold on than certainly to fall over. Right. And then coming back to the center. My mat is kind of half in use with a big brown lab here. I don't know if you can see her, but I'll try not to disturb her. So for the next one, instead of bringing the knees forward as we walk, we're going to, as if we're skating, push back, push back, push back, like you're pushing off with your skates, gliding. So you'll feel the muscles in the back of your body waking up. Again, this would be a great place to hold on if you feel unsteady at all. Good, let's hold. And as you're holding, notice is your upper body forward, and perhaps you could bring it more upright. Good, and then other side, hold. I'm flexing my foot. You can try pointing or toes down. Try flexing. Good, and then coming back, and again, bend and straighten a few times. Just let that go, and you can shake it out. Right, and then coming back to Tadasana with the feet under the hips. Tadasana is mountain pose, basic standing posture. And we'll move into a forward bend and include a half forward bend. So you could do this moving to the chair or just bending forward over your legs. If you like, you can bring that sound back, yum, as we go forward. So it's like this, breathing in, lifting up, coming forward, yum. We'll add a half forward bend, so you can bring your hands to your knees. Here you want to kind of arch your back a little bit, breathing in, and then exhale without sound, coming forward. You'll inhale, come all the way up, and we'll repeat. So coming all the way forward, yum. Half forward bend. Coming forward again without sound. Lifting all the way up and repeating. Half forward bend, and if your pace is different from mine, which is quite likely, go at your own pace as we do one more. Stay upright this time. And let the arms release to the sides. All right, so from here, let's move into warrior. Taking one foot forward, you, again, might want to have your chair here in front, or you can always just bend forward over your legs, bringing the hands to the legs. So from here, back foot is turned out so your foot is on the ground, front foot pointing forward. We're going to bring the hands onto the heart, one over the other. Your hips are pointing in the same direction as your front foot. So you'll bend the front knee, and as you bend the knee, you're going to open the arms, breathing in. And then as you exhale, you could again make the sound yum as you bring your hands back to the heart. So inhale, opening. Yum. 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 Pause here. So we'll add a forward bend this time. So you can open the arms. We'll let the sound go. Come forward, hands either to your leg, or you can bring them onto your chair if you've got one handy, or blocks if you prefer. And then keeping the spine relatively straight. So we're not rounding the back, keeping lots of length in the spine. Move your front leg a little more straight, a little more bent, a little more straight, and a little more bent. So you're looking for a bit of stretch in the back of the front leg. Definitely don't want to overdo it. And ideally, you're feeling the stretch between the knee and the hip, not pulling on your sit bone at the hip. And ideally, also not giving you a big pull at the back of the knee. So if you're feeling either of those at the end of your muscles, you'll keep the movement even smaller. Right, then when you're ready, we're going to have a little bit of bend in the front knee. We'll lift all the way up, warrior one. And then release the arms to the sides. And step your feet back together. Maybe pause for a moment and again notice, how does one side of my body, if you could split yourself in half, left and right, how do I feel on the left side of my body? And is that any different from how I feel on the right side? There's no right or wrong answer. This inquiry is along that same idea of svadhyaya, where we started today, of self-study, of knowing yourself. What is true for you? I spent a lot of my life trying to figure out what everyone else wanted from me, that it was really hard to separate what was true for me. And yoga was a really big help for me in really tuning into who I am and what I want and need. And that's part of this self-study or svadhyaya we've been talking about today. So again, you can bring the hands over the heart, other foot steps forward now. And again, bending the knee, inhale, open the arms, find a little bit of lift in the heart, and you can use that sound if you like. Yum. Again. Yum. 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 We'll add the forward bend this time. And remember, if my breath rate is a different pace than yours, please follow your own. From here, knee bends and straightens. You want to try to keep the spine nice and long. You're not looking forward, but looking more down, so the back of the neck is long. And if your leg doesn't even come close to straight without straining, then please stop wherever your body says that's enough. Make sure you're breathing. And then we'll keep a little bend in that front knee, press into both feet, lift up with a breath in, all the way up to warrior one, and then exhaling, releasing the arms and stepping the feet back together. So from here, you want to, if you're using a chair, and I do recommend that you have a chair, or could be a countertop, or perhaps blocks. If you're quite flexible, you could bring your hands to blocks in the forward bend here. So we're going to do a forward bend and then add on to it. So taking a breath in, coming up. As you exhale, you can either reach all the way down your legs or to the chair, blocks. Coming up with the breath in. A few more like that. Any version. And then eventually you'll want to bring your hands to your chair or your blocks or counter if you're using that. The counter might be a little high, but you can still work with it. So you want to then line yourself up more or less so your feet are under your hips and your hands are underneath your shoulders. So if you're too far back, you're going to have this reach from your arms. If you're too far forward, it's going to be very awkward. So lining yourself up where it feels more or less like the hands are under the shoulders and the feet are under the hips. Bend and straighten your knees a few times. Great. And then we'll take one leg, stretch it back, and then bring it in towards your nose. Stretch back and bring it in. If you want to coordinate your breathing, exhale as you draw in, inhale as you reach back, and then we'll switch sides. So a few on one side and then a few on the other. Great, and then bringing that leg down. Let's pause for a moment, come upright, breathing in. Good. Exhale, bring your arms down. If you can reach to bring your hands together, you can interlace your hands and lift. Take a couple of breaths, shoulders move down and back, heart lifts. Good, and then releasing the arms. And we'll try that, that same kind of movement, but we'll stay in the pose this time. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, coming forward. And again, you can line yourself up so that you feel comfortable and well supported. And then doesn't matter which leg, you can take one leg and stretch it back. It could be just off the floor. It could be a little higher. It could be as high as in line with your body. Think about internally rotating that lifted leg so your foot's not turned to the side, but straight down toward the ground. If you're feeling confident here, you could try raising one arm. I would recommend the opposite arm from the leg that's lifted or the same side as the standing leg. So you could take that arm out to the side and breathe here. If you're feeling very confident, you could try lifting the other arm as well. And then bringing both hands down. Step your leg down, bend your knees a couple of times. And then we'll lift up, breathing in. And we'll come forward, or actually we'll come, bring the arms down. We'll come back to this heart lifted position, arms back. Taking a few breaths here. And then coming all the way up with the breath in. Exhale to come forward. Again, if you need to adjust your position, adjust. And then stretch the other leg back. Again, any amount. Think about internally rotating, and that will drop the hips so that they're level. turning the foot toward the ground. And again, if you feel confident, you could raise the arm opposite of the leg that's raised. And maybe a lot more tricky, you could try raising both arms and breathe. Bring the hands down, bring the leg down, bend and straighten a couple of times. And then come all the way up, breathing in. And exhale to release. Wonderful. So I'm going to move the chair out of the way now. We're going to start to think about coming down to the mat, but first we'll do a few more forward bends. So you can do this one with the feet wide or together if that's more comfortable for you. Either way, lifting the arms with a breath in. Bend the knees slightly, sweep forward and down as you exhale. And then lifting all the way up, breathing in. Repeat that same movement a few more times. You could also be doing this movement to a chair. That would be totally wonderful and acceptable here as well. Or hands to the knees or elbows to the thighs. Lots of variations and options. And eventually you'll come back up, stay upright, and release your arms to your sides. Good. And then from here, we're going to come to lie down. So you can make your way onto the ground. Just take a moment as you get there to settle, come into your breath. Your hands could maybe even rest on your body so you can feel the movement of your breath. So we'll do just a little bit more movement here to wind down a little bit more before we take our Shavasana. So you can move the hands away from the body out to the sides. And bring the feet in side by side. They can be together or a little bit apart for a gentle twist here. And as you exhale, letting the knees go to one side, your head can turn the opposite direction. And then come back to the center as you breathe in. Exhaling, go the opposite direction. Back to the center as you breathe in. And continue like that. So you're going to either side, alternating. Exhaling as you go to the side. Inhaling as you come to the center. And then eventually make your way back to the center. And bring your knees up toward your chest. So one hand is on each knee, and you can start with straight arms. Take a breath in as you exhale, bend your elbows, draw the knees in. As you inhale, straighten your arms, move your knees away. And here I would invite you to make the sound, if you like. You can either do it really, really quietly now or even mentally. Yum. Go at your own pace. Yum. Yum. And then letting go of the sound, either mentally or quietly. You can hold the knees, maybe rock or circle the knees, whatever might feel good to massage the back a bit before we come to stillness for a few minutes in Shavasana. So take your time. If there's other movements that might feel good, if you want to stretch out or whatever might feel good, a big yawn. And then take the next minute or so to get yourself comfortable. So if you want to add on clothing or a blanket, or if you want to prop your legs up, say with a couch cushion or whatever you've got handy, take your time, get comfortable. I'll come to seated, but you can stay lying down. You're always welcome to come back to seated for the final part of the class as well. If you feel more alert and that feels more appropriate to you to be sitting, by all means. And I find most people prefer to relax lying down at the end of class. With my teachers, usually we sit at the end. Not always. So the practice of yoga is a preparation for sitting meditation. So it's quite perfect that way, but it's also really nice just to chill and really integrate at the end of the class. So whatever works for you is totally fine. And then once you settle yourself, tune back into your breath. And now with a little more focus on your exhalation. So you'll breathe in normally. And as you exhale, let the breath softly and slowly leave your body. Inhale normally. Exhale. Make sure that exhalation is full and complete. You don't have to force the breath out, but often we half exhale and then inhale again. So really let the breath go and then inhale. And as you let the breath go, feel your body let go of its tension, the effort of the practice. Let go of the need to do or be anything right now. Be as present as possible with your breath so that other thoughts or physical distractions take a back seat to your focus. Breathing in, breathing out. If you find the sound helpful, you can repeat it silently in your mind. So you could inhale, normally exhale, and silently yum. Yum. Let your shoulders drop and the weight of your head sink down. Let your jaw and all the muscles of your face relax. Softening the front and back of the shoulders, the armpits, and the arms right to the fingertips, letting go. Feel the breath enter your rib cage and expand into the ribs. And then as you exhale, feel that softening and dropping. As the muscles around the ribs soften and relax, the belly and lower back let go. Dropping into the pelvis, into the hips. Feel the weight of your hips and feel a sinking, softening all around the muscles of your buttocks. Softening down into the thighs, letting go. Relaxing the knees and calves, the ankles, and your feet. Relaxing the tops of your feet, the soles of your feet. Even relaxing your toes. When your mind wanders, you might bring it back to the breath. And if you're using the sound silently to focus your mind, you can come back to that as well. So you inhale normally, and then silently on your exhale, Hayam. Yam. Yam. You can continue with that or let the sound go as you listen to chant today on the subject of svadhyaya, to study ourselves, to know ourselves through the practice of yoga, through studying the philosophy of yoga in everything we do. Om Ritancha Svadhyaya Pravachancha Satyancha Svadhyaya Pravachancha Tapascha Svadhyaya Pravachancha Damascha Svadhyaya Pravachancha Shamascha Svadhyaya Pravachancha Agneyascha Svadhyaya Pravachancha Agnihotrancha Svadhyaya Pravachancha Atitayascha Svadhyaya Pravachancha Manushamcha Svadhyaya Pravachancha Prajacha Svadhyaya Pravachancha Prajanascha Svadhyaya Pravachancha Prajatischa Svadhyaya Pravachancha Satyamiti Satyavacharati Taraha Tapa iti tapo nityaf parushishtihi Svadhyaya pravachane evetinako madgalyaha tadhi tapas tadhi tapaha. So if you're ready to move out of Shavasana and into your day, you can start to deepen your breath a little. And if you'd like to stay in Shavasana, by all means, you can stay and just ignore my instructions. And if you've decided to come out of Shavasana, you can slowly start to add movement, wiggle your fingers and toes, stretch and move in whatever way would feel good. And eventually coming back to sit upright, rolling first to your side to make that transition easier. And then bringing the hands together at the heart. So as you go into your day and into your week, I encourage you and invite you to stay with this practice of looking deeply at yourself, noticing when you get the results you want from the actions that you've put out into the world and when you don't. And when those results don't come back, that bring you contentment and peace and the way you want to feel, reflect on what it is that you could do differently. So that our self-reflection is constantly moving us towards a deeper and deeper contentment and peace and ease in our lives. Namaste. And if it helps you, you can also use the sound. You know, the sound that we've used today is yum, but any sound, it could be ah or hum or just mm. So I hope you have a wonderful day.